Good afternoon, everybody. Myself G. Chennaya, PGT Biology, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Valasapalli, Chittoor district in Andhra Pradesh. So today I am going to discuss about the general characters of plant kingdom of algae. So when you see the plant kingdom divided into two sub kingdoms. Number one, cryptogamy, pteridogamy. The cryptogamy means these are non-flowering plants and non-seeded bearing plants. The pentogamy means these are flowering plants and seed-bearing plants. So pentogamy has flowers and they shall give rise the seeds also. The cryptogamy, they are divided into mainly three divisions. Number one, Thallophyta, Bryophyta, and Pteridophyta. The pentogamy divided into two divisions. One is Gymnospermae and Angiospermae. The Thallophyta means the plant body not differentiated in root, stem, and leaf. The plant body looks like a thallus-like structure. That's why they are known as a Thallophyta. The Bryophyta have false roots, leaves, spores are producing in capsules. The Pteridophytes have two roots and leaves present in their body, spores born on the under surface of the leaf. The gymnosperms have naked seeded plants, and angiosperms are seed and they shall give the fruit plants. So these Thallophyta, they are divided three classes. One is algae, fungi, and lichens. So these angiosperms are divided into monocots and dicots. So this is a total plant kingdom of the even in the 11th class syllabus. So now we shall discuss about what are the main divisions of plant kingdom. The plant kingdom is divided into Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperms, and Angiosperms. So first of all, discuss about the division Thallophyta. So when you see the plant kingdom, these are the first plants of non-flowering plants. So these are known as a Thallophyta. The plant body looks like a thallus-like structure. So when the plants will grow takes in the water, the thallus will move from one direction to another direction. They are moves from one direction to other direction. That's why they are known as a Thallophyta. It means the plant body looks like a thallus. The term algae was introduced by Linnaeus in 1753, meaning that Hepataceae. So first in Thallophyta, we are discussing about the algae. So first of all, what are the main characters of algae? The algae are chlorophyll bearing autotrophs, and the body have thallus. That's why they are known as a thallid plant. Almost all the algae are aquatic organisms because most of the algae plant they can survival in the water. That's why they are known as a aquatic organisms. The plant body may be unicellular or multicellular structure. The multicellular complex like lack of vascular tissue. The plant does not have any vascular tissue and also show little differences in the tissues. But what is the main importance of algae? So at least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth carried out by them. They can increase oxygen level in the environment. The algae plants, the main importance is they can increase the oxygen level in the environment, and also they can the total carbon dioxide fixation on the earth carried out of them. Many species like Laminaria, sargassum are used for food purpose. Agar is obtained from some of the algae plants like Geladium and Gracilaria is also used in ice creams and jellies. Algin is obtained from brown algae or carogens from red algae used commercial purpose. Some of the algae like Coralla and Spirulina are unicellular algae, rich in proteins and used even by space travelers. But where the algae is located? What are the main occurrence of algae? The algae are ubiquitous in distributions. They are found in freshwater as well as marine water. Some of the algae plants they can survive on the rocks on the soil. Algae can grow on epiphytes or parasites on plants and animals. In some hot springs, in desert or permanent snow fields, but they mainly dwell in aquatic environmental conditions. But what are the main types of reproduction in algae? Algae show all the three types of reproductions are there. One is vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. The vegetative reproduction depends upon the fragmentation. What do you mean by fragmentation? Fragmentation means to divide the thallus. The plant body will divide. These thallus of small pieces, they can develop new plants. So next one is the asexual reproduction. It depends upon the zoospores. Sexual reproduction depends upon gametes. So let us to discuss about one by one. The first of all discuss about vegetative reproduction. The vegetative reproduction depends upon the capacity and the bits of algae accidentally break down the thallus. The breakdown of the thallus is known as fragmentation. By the help of this fragmentation, a small piece of algae plants, they can develop the new plants. It is known as a vegetative part of the thallus development of the new individuals. So when you see the example of Spirogyra, this is one of the algae plants. The body have cell wall and a nucleus cytoplasm is there. The body have a green color ribbon-like structures are known as a chloroplast. When the thallus becomes mature, the nucleus, cytoplasm, and chloroplast will divide. It becomes a small pieces. It is known as a fragmentation. So by the help of fragmentation process, the Spirogyra, the parent of thallus, they can divide smaller organisms. So these smaller organisms, they can develop new plants. So next one, you come to the asexual reproduction. The asexual reproduction of algae depends upon zoospores. The zoospores are haploid cells. So how the zoospores are developed from the plants? When you see the example of Chlamydomonas, it is one of the chlorophyceae. So these Chlamydomonas, the body of cell wall, inside this one nucleus is there, and the cup-like structure of chloroplast, the flagellum. So this is the structure of Chlamydomonas. When the Chlamydomonas becomes mature, the nucleus, cytoplasm undergo divisions. They can develop a biflagellate zoospore. So when the zoospores are becomes mature, the parental body will be ruptured. All zoospores will come out from the organism. Each zoospore, they can develop the new plants. But when you see the zoospore have two flagellum. When the spore have flagellum, it is known as a motile spores. Some of the algae plants, the spore does not have any flagellum. They are known as a non-flagellate zoospore. But when you see the Chlamydomonas, when the zoospores are released from the parental body, number of zoospores are coming. This stage is also known as a palmelloid stage. When you see the zoospores, two types, motile spores, non-motile spores are there. Which spores have flagellum is a motile spores. Which flagellum does not have flagellum is known as a non-motile spores. So by the help of zoospores, they can develop the new organisms. So these zoospores are germinated and they can develop new plants. But these are the biflagellate zoospores. So when you see this picture, it has two flagellum. It is known as a biflagellate zoospore. The sexual difference depends upon the male and female gametes. These gametes are always haploid cells because it consists of single set of chromosomes. So when you see the algae plants, what are the main types of gametes? So when you see the gametes are, one is isogametes, similar gametes. It means the two similar gametes in which no differentiation can be distinguished are called isogametes. The male and female gametes are both are similar in structure. They are known as a isogametes. We can see the example of a very good example, Spirogyra, they have isogametes. Next one you see, anisogametes are also known as a heterogametes. In some algae plants, the male and female gametes are not similar in structure. They are known as anisogametes. Some other species like Chlamydomonas, male and female gametes are different morphological characters, so we can see. That's why they are known as a anisogametes. So next one you see, oogamy is a process. In the familiar form of the sexual reproduction, it is a form of anisogamy or heterogamy in which the male gametes is significantly larger than the female gametes and they are non-motile. They are known as a oogamy process. It also comes to under heterogamy. Very good example, volvox and fecus. So when you see here, the female gametes, you cannot find out any flagellum, and the male gametes, you can say flagellum. The female gametes are bigger size, the male gametes are smaller size. This type of gametes you can see, that is known as a oogamy gametes, or it is also known as a heterogamy. Okay. So when you see the gametes are fused with each other, it form a zygote. The zygote and diploid cell, because the gametes are haploid cell, both will come and fuse with the zygote. It has a diploid, and these diploid cells germinate. They can develop the new individuals. So that is the main reproduction of algae. But when you see, let us to discuss about what the main importance of algae. At least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on the earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. So next one you see, most of the algae plants are used for food purposes. Purpura, laminaria, and sargassum used in food purposes. Algin, on the brown algae, and kerogens, red algae, are used in hydrocolloids, which is a fibrous structure, hold water and used to transport seedlings. Agar is on a starch, which is also extracted from commercial products. It is also extracted from the algae plants, which can be used for commercial products. Geladium and glossularia are used to grow microbes, make ice creams and jellies. Next one you see, Corella and spirulina are rich in proteins and used in food supplementary. So next you see, what are the main uses of source of food? Used as biofertilizers, sewage treatment, alternative to chemical dyes and coloring agents, and commercial uses of agar. So these are also main importance of useful of algae. But when you see the algae, what are the main types of algae? The algae are mainly classified three types. One is Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, and Rhodophyceae. The Chlorophyceae is a green algae. All are green in color-like structure. But what are the main habitat where they can survive these Chlorophyceae? They are survive in fresh water. Some of the algae are survive in marine water. These are unicellular organisms. They are colonial and multicellular green plants because the plants have chlorophyll pigments. Generally, with a simple structure, the algae plants have chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenoids, and xanthophylls. They are as in higher plants contain plastids also. Chloroplast may be discoid, plate-like, reticulate, cup-shaped, and spiral or ribble-like structures. When you see the example of Spirogyra, the chloroplast is a ribble-like structure. When you see the example of Chlamydomonas, it has cup-like structure. The food storage product are mostly starch, and sometimes fat frequently aggregates around the pyrenoids. But when you see the thallus, they are divided in the thallus of organisms. When you see the example of Chlamydomonas, it has unicellular, motile. Chlorella, you see unicellular and spores are non-motile. Pendornia and Endornia, the thallus is colonial and spores are motile. Next, Hydrodictya, another plant in algae, colonial and non-motile. Spirogyra, unbranched filamentous, and you can also see Eleutherex. So these are the different types of plants have different nature of the thallus. But when you see the branched filamentous thallus, you can see Cladophora, and you can see the seed-like structure vulva plant. When you see the cenocytic Ucheraceae and Califra, and another one you see Heterotrichus, you can see Stigocolonium and Cara nitella. So these are different types of thallus. Presence of the nucleus, septum, they are divided. When you come to the reproduction of these algae plants, that is the Chlorophyceae, green algae, first one you see vegetative reproduction by the fragmentation. So this is the Spirogyra. It has a cell, nucleus, cytoplasm. This is septum layer is there, and inside the thallus, it has a small ribble-like structure is chloroplast. So these parts they can undergo division. They can develop the new plants. That is a very good example in Spirogyra. The asexual reproduction depends upon zoospores, and a very good example you can see Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eleutherex, Spirogyra, and Cara. So these are the asexual reproduction. Next you see the examples of green algae. One is Chlorophyceae, Volvox, Eleutherex, and Spirogyra. These are very good example of green algae. Next one, you come to the Phaeophyceae, class Phaeophyceae, that is a brown algae. They are commonly known as brown algae. It presents of the golden brown xanthophyll pigment is there. So that's why they looks like brown color like structures. It has xanthophyll, golden brown color xanthophyll pigment is there. And it also has phycoxanthin in the chromatophores. About 99.7% membranes of marines and some are grow in freshwater forms. Vary in shape and size from simple branch, filamentous, and to profuse branched like structures. Body consists of oldplast, a stack, stripe, and a font. The plants have chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C, carotenoids, xanthophylls, and phycoxanthins. Food is stored as carbohydrates in the form of laminaria or mannitol. The cell wall is covered by algin, a gelatinous coating like structures. The reproduction depends upon vegetable reproduction, depends upon the fragmentation. The body will divide, the thallus will divide, they can develop new plants. The sexual reproduction depends upon zoospores. These zoospores are biflagellate zoospores. The sexual reproduction depends upon isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. Very good example: Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, and Ficus. So these are different examples of Phaeophyceae. So this is Ectocarpus, and this is the Sargassum plants. So this is Ectocarpus plants. Next one is the class Rhodophyceae. The Rhodophyceae all are known as a red algae. The Rhodophyceae is called red algae as important from red color of the thallus. The thallus looks like a red in color. There are about 400 genera and 4,000 species of red algae available in the nature. They are predominantly marine forms and some are located freshwater forms. So these algae contains pigments like phycoerythrin and phycocyanine, chlorophyll A, and beta carotenoids. That's why it looks like red in color. They have water-soluble red pigments, phycoerythrin, which make the green color of chlorophyll A. The main storage food is fluoridodin starch. The sexual reproduction is advanced oogamous type. The male organ produces non-motile gametes, and the female organ has a long receptor neck-like structures. After sexual reproduction, the special spores are produced. Very good example: Bacterosperma and Falciponia. These are very good examples. So these are known as a Rhodophyceae. Different of examples are there. So Falciponia one another example, Purpura one example, Lepidium one example, Glacieria. So these are different of examples. So next one you see, these are different of classes, Chlorophyceae. Next one is Phaeophyceae, Rhodophyceae. These are different of one class to another classes. So thank you. Have a nice day.